We're going to go right to questions. We'll start with Joe Kayada, and I'd ask others to raise your hand if you have questions for Coach Belichick. Go ahead, Joe.
Thank you, Stacy. Hi, Bill. How are you today?
I'm good, Joe. How you doing?
Good. I was just wondering, at this point in the week, on a short week, what's the most important thing for your guys as they get ready to step on this flight? Is it more of getting their body right or of the mental thing of getting the game plan and continuing to study?
Yeah, I think a combination of both. Physically being ready to play. This is like a Saturday for us, so there's a routine that everybody's in that we're not quite in, but up until this point, we got to try to get as close to as we can to our normal day before and day of the game routine. But that said, there's still time between now and the game to continue to prepare, watch film, talk to teammates about calls or adjustments or things like that, or ask questions. And we meet tonight and tomorrow morning, and I'm sure that we'll have some questions from guys that saw something or talked about something and just need it cleared up. So that's really enables us to play confidently and play aggressively to try to iron out as many of those things as we can.
Great. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Next question, Chris Ryan, followed by Nick O'Malley.
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Good, Chris. How's it going?
Good. Want to check in on the role you feel the secondary has played in improving the overall pass rush, and how you feel the coverage has perhaps helped out Judon and others who have been able to put up big numbers.
Right. Well, the passing game is really a combination of just team defense. It's the pass rush, forcing the ball out on time, and the coverage, having the receivers covered at over a certain, at a certain period of time for the timing of the play, based on the depth of the quarterback drop and so forth. That they're kind of when they match the receivers. So one without the other isn't really that good. If you have a good rush on the quarterback, if the receivers are open, then the quarterbacks will get rid of the ball and vice versa. You can't cover them all day, so the rush has got to match the coverage. So it's really a little bit of a understanding from a team standpoint that on shorter throws and shorter drops, how we have to rush quicker and force the ball out on time, and the coverage has to match those routes quicker. And on longer plays, we have a little bit more time to generate our pass rush, and whether that be techniques or some type of a movement stunt. And from a coverage standpoint, we're not covering the receiver until they get further down the field or further into their route. And so it's the combination of those things coming together and recognizing the type of pass it is and the timing of the pass, and then matching the rush and the coverage to meet it. And teams like Atlanta and New Orleans and Tampa, Dallas, those teams all did a good job of mixing the type of pass that they threw, so you couldn't always count on it being the same rhythmic type of pass. So if you get deep drops, short drops, moving pockets, play action, different types of play action that change up the the way the rushers are going to go to the quarterback, whether sometimes that's the line sliding on a blocking scheme or a guard pulling on a blocking scheme, but it's not a run. And then that changes the rush a little bit. So, all those things are done by the offense to try to keep the defense off balance and either slow down the rush or cause some hesitation in the aggressiveness of the rush. So it's our job defensively to figure that out and try to make recognize what's happening and react to it as quickly as we can. So that's a challenge for us this week. But there are many times where our pass rush forces and sometimes that's because of disguise on the pre-snap, but it forces the quarterback just to hold the ball a split second longer, and that really helps the rush. And there also have been times when the rush is kind of right there and the quarterback can't get to his primary receiver on that particular pattern, And then that gives the defenders that split second longer to match it. And so, hopefully those will continue to work together favorably for us.
And on Matt Ryan as well, obviously folks around here have been following him for a while since his time at Boston College. How have you seen him evolve over the years? And he's one of those guys you're kind of talking about before that's really good at extending the play and allowing for receivers to get open.
Well, I think this year he's really done a good job and has really improved his timing on the passing game and not holding the ball as long, getting it out on time more consistently. He has a good arm and reads coverage as well and all that. There's never really been a question on that, but I feel like in watching him play last year to this year that his timing is good. The ball comes out quickly and he's just not holding it very much. He's getting to his outlet receivers quickly and getting the ball in their hands, and then they're able to make positive plays. And in the past, again, I think he's just improved in that area. So whether that's whatever the coaching, Julio not there, I'm not really sure what's the cause of all that, but I think it's noticeable how much more efficient he's been in the passing game. His completion percentage is up, his sacks and interceptions are down. So I don't think he's playing well.
Next question, Nick O'Malley.
Hey, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
I want to ask about tight ends. And when I'm thinking of defending tight ends and the Falcons, I'm thinking of the game a few years ago going up against Tony Gonzalez, member of the play, where he basically had two guys on him lining up like gunners on the goal line.
That's right.
Does Kyle Pitts present that same sort of like athletic challenge where maybe not lining up the two guys like gunners, but where you sort of have to find a unique circumstance defensively to match up with that?
Yeah, well, we're not allowed to do that anymore. We're not allowed to vice him like we could back when we went against Gonzalez. But if we could, this would probably be a good week to do it. Yeah, Pitts is a really, really talented player. He's very long, has excellent hands. It's good quickness to get off the line, good quickness at the top of his route. He has a huge catch radius, has made some spectacular one-handed catches where the defenders are kind of grabbing at his other arm. He can only get one hand on the ball and he still hauls it in. Again, he's a big target. Ryan's a very accurate quarterback, but he's a huge target. He's hard to overthrow and he makes plays with the ball on either side of him that, most receivers just can't make. So it's, somewhere between a Julio Jones and a Tony Gonzalez but he's a big, strong guy too, like Gonzalez was. So if you start pushing off against him, he's probably going to win that because he's bigger and longer and just as strong as anybody that's pushing on him, unless they're a linebacker. And then if it's a linebacker, then he has a huge advantage against those guys from a speed and quickness standpoint. So he's really good, and he's going to be really good. I'm sure he'll break all the tight end receiving records for a rookie this year. And Coach Smith's done an excellent job of putting him in positions where it's hard to get a lot of coverage on him, and then the type of play that they run based on where he's lined up. It just he creates some opportunities for him, and he's certainly able to take advantage of them with his outstanding skill set. So this will be a tough matchup for us, sure.
And as far as tight ends go, whether it's a guy like Gonzalez or Kittle or Kelsey, when a tight end's featured in the passing attack like that, what sort of challenge does it present as opposed to having like a top receiver like a Julio or a Hill, where it's a guy that's a tight end where you're really focusing on?
Yeah, well, again, I'd say the difference with Pitts from what we've seen so far. I know, we've got half a season and they haven't had Ridley here for a couple of weeks, but Pitts plays a lot of receiver. I mean, he's plays as a wide receiver, extends outside the formation. And so when you talk about a player like Julio Jones, again, it was a great player in his own right, but you never saw Julio Jones really line up at tight end. you would see Gonzalez and Kelsey and Kittle and those guys flex out a little bit, but most of their damage was done inside. And that's a great place for a tight end because he has so many two-way options of going outside or going inside. But when you're in the middle of the field, it's kind of, you can go anywhere. And I would say Pitts has impressed me with his ability to play as a perimeter receiver, as a true perimeter receiver, a high percentage of the time. It's not like he's just out there, once or twice a game. He's out there a lot. Now, from game to game, it could be different, but you've got to be able to handle him out there, and then you've got to be able to handle him inside too. And again, you don't see very many receivers come in and actually block. And block one of the front seven players. They might come in and block a DB, but they don't come in and block one of the front seven players. And I think that's, one of the things that separates Kittle from, a lot of other tight ends that you could talk about is his superior blocking ability. But Pitts can come in there and block. But then I would say more than Gonzalez or more than Kittle or even Kelsey, he extends out more than they do too. So his ability to really be a receiver to a tight end is pretty impressive. It's similar to Patterson, Cordarrelle, who can play receiver, slot receiver, and running back on any given play, and he doesn't look out of place at any of those spots. And those are really challenging matchups for a defense when you look at a player, but you really don't know what he is. Like with Patterson, is he a running back? Is he in the slot, or is he a perimeter receiver? And he's killed teams at all three spots. Or same thing when you call a defense, you don't know if Pitts is going to be attached to the tackle or detached from the tackle, flexed a little bit, or lined up outside the numbers. And he's a problem in all spots. So those guys are tough, and Coach Smith's done a good job of, I would say, putting together a very versatile team. You look at a guy like Franks, who's similar to Hill from New Orleans, plays quarterback, but he also plays tight end, and he also plays in the kicking game. And he's out there, banging heads with linebackers and running backs and everybody else on special teams. So is he a tight end? Is he a quarterback? Again, he's on the field. It goes kind of back to the Hill conversation. He's on the field, but you really don't know where he's going to align, and that makes it hard to call defenses if you don't know if he's in the backfield or behind the center or where he is. So those kind of things cause problems. So I'd say, in just general, Coach Smith has really put together a group of players in the offensive skill positions that are versatile, and they can do a lot of different things. And then he formations them around so that it makes it extremely hard defensively to match up to them. And that's very challenging.
Great. Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
I see some additions here. We're going to take two final questions. We have a bust to catch. We're going to go with Alex Barth and Mike Reese.
Hey, Bill, I wanted to ask you about another one of the Falcons' young players, AJ Terrell. It seems like he's been had a very good start to the season. What have you noticed from him, studying him, that makes him so effective?
Yeah, Terrell's a very instinctive player. He has a good awareness and a good anticipation for the ball. Does a good job matching routes, and Coach Pease runs a lot of different coverages and coverage disguises. And so it's, some things look the same and then they're different. And they mix it up. So from play to play, you might get the same thing, but you also might get quite a variety from play to play. This depends on how he wants to play you. So again, I haven't worked with him, but he appears to be a very smart player. And again, I think you almost have to be in Coach Pease's system because of the, again, coverage variations that they run, but the disguises and just the way he plays. He seems like a very instinctive and smart player, and so they've got again, several guys back there like Duran, who we know well, who's a, again, a very instinctive player that sees a lot of the field and can make adjustments back there very quickly. It looks like they have a pretty good group back there that can handle, a lot of different looks to throw the offense.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The last question, Mike Reese.
All right. Thanks, Stacy. So Bill, going back to a venue with some great memories for the Patriots, I'm sure you probably haven't put much thought in it, but when you go back to a place where, some great things have happened for the team, do you allow yourself any moments of, reflection as you're just sort of stepping into the building on that night?
Oh yeah, you're right, Mike. I really thought about it a lot. I'll try to do a better job on the replay than I did the last time, but it's it's a great place to play. It's a great stadium. I mean, it's big and really the biggest thing we need to focus on is just obviously crowd noise and cadence and so forth and communication, but really just our preparation for the Falcons and what we'll need to do tomorrow night. But yeah, maybe once we get in there, we'll take a closer look. Thanks.
Safe travels. We'll see you down there.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, everyone.